Hey, how's everybody doing today? It is October 29th, 2024. Um, just actually not doing a morning check-in. I'm doing an afternoon check-in. I like to kind of consider the video as part of the daily. Most of the daily stuff, the making the bed, saying my prayers, doing a meditation. Most of that daily check-in stuff is obviously it's in the morning. Some things like workouts and whatnot, that tends to be, sometimes that's morning too, but that can be afternoon. Got the poster up. But like this can be done. I've got to work this afternoon a little bit here at my at my desk, so it's a good time for me to check in here. Had a pretty busy day. I do some day trading with some stocks and options, and so I'm usually up, pretty early, usually between 5 and 5:30, getting ready for the markets to open and looking at different stuff, and then. With my property management stuff, I tend to be then out in the field, and somewhere after 9, 10 o'clock kind of thing. Doesn't generally take a ton. It doesn't generally take all day. It just totally depends whether I'm meeting vendors or not. And I had to meet a vendor today at 1 o'clock, and it's so kind of getting back to this property management thing that I just want to. I don't ever want to oversell the need for my services or anything like that. But what I do is that I'm looking after properties that are either seasonal use. Mostly in my case, they're second homes that are not used a whole lot. I mean, we're talking maybe at most 2 months a year. Some of them are like 3 weeks a year. To what people always kind of laugh about that, and they're like, what are people doing? Well, let me tell you, all those people made some pretty good real estate investments in those properties because their values are up, and they've got a ton of equity in them, and then also they're all doing improvements, and that improvements are great because you start to see the how many the number of contractors and vendors that then participate in that, and it becomes kind of a little micro economy, and that trickles to me too. But interestingly enough, we deal with a lot of the basic stuff is flushing toilets, managing the pool guys, the landscapers. HVAC. We talked to HVAC last week or the week before a little bit. But the hot water heaters today, I showed up on this property, and there was a little bit of water in the closet that houses the hot water heater, and it's just a little bit of what is that water coming from? And so we've got a hot water heater that's going bad. The leak, there's a pan underneath it, but it's a fairly significant leak. It's in a garage, so that's good. Some people have them in their houses. But no matter what, you never, you don't want a homeowner who's not there, it's out of state, does not want to show up and have a hot water heater that's burst or, completely failed and leaked out of its water. They don't want to deal with that. And even if it's in the garage, you can still kind of make a mess depending on what you got in your garage. But so shut the valve off on that, and actually I left it for today. I'm going to go back and drain it tomorrow, but we'll have to get a plumber out there because more than likely what it looks like is that it's rusting out in the bottom, and we're going to need to put a new hot water heater in. You hear, the HVACs, like I said, I think I said this last week, they used to say, 20 years, and then somewhere along the line, in the spirit of upsell, they started saying, HVACs are 10 years. HVACs are 20. They can be serviced pretty well for 20 years. Have a lot of HVACs going at 25 years. Now, at 25 years, you probably are going to start looking at needing to replace it. But the hot water heaters, they'll say 10 years. It just really depends. That can easily be 15 or 20 as well. 20 you're probably pushing it, but 15 is nothing. And it's a lot. It's like a lot of things, folks. I mean, this is things that are being built now are not built as well as they were 20, 30, 40 years ago. Stuff was built to last. It can be built to last, but in an effort to outsource a lot of our manufacturing. And people laugh about things that come from China. And I've got a dog over here that insists on being petted while I do these videos. But, what is it? What's the problem with it coming from China? Well, lots of times it's like the assembly will not be necessarily done so well, but lots of times they're using a cheaper metal. It's very soft. And when you get into mechanical parts, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about mechanical parts that have any kind of friction or any kind of movement. That soft metal will fail much sooner than a harder metal. No, and why would they do that? Well, because that soft metal is a lot cheaper. It's probably lighter, which maybe that helps with shipping, but I think it's just a cheaper part. Right, they increase their margin. They're selling massive volumes, and you start taking, I don't know, 5 to 10 cents margin off, per unit, and you're selling, 1 million of them. Quick math, what is that? We're talking $50,000 that you're saving. So that's the incentive on their part for doing that. But anyway. Check your hot water heaters. Look at the bottom, just make sure that there's not rust forming, because if there is, then you're heading towards a leak, and it's got to be replaced. That's a big thing. Also, if you have a circulation pump on top of that hot water heater, and and a lot of people do, because one side of the house, it takes a while for that water to get over there, but that circulation pump tends to run a little hot. So if you're leaving your house for any extended period of time, I would say anything over a week, unplug that. And it's just plugged into the wall. Unplug that circulation pump, because they get hot, and then they melt, and they actually can kind of be a little bit of a fire hazard. They more than likely will trip that breaker. And so you won't, you don't have to really worry about it on that end, but God forbid you don't, and you got this hot mechanical pump working in your house, and those, lots, I'm thinking about one that we just replaced about 2 months ago, and it's not in the garage, it's in the laundry room. So we caught it, no problem, got it fixed. Okay, that's all I got. We will see you next time. See ya.